It's like a half an hour to get the show up. At least. Well, on Mondays it is. Get the stuff rolling here. It's at least a half an hour. It's probably like, figure them up at like 6 in the morning, then like by 7 we're starting to get ready, like take a shower, all that kind of stuff. Can you guys see me on YouTube this morning's like, yeah, we'll do our own thing here. Customization. Dave, good morning out there. How y'all doing? Good morning, Just A Right. Good to see you this morning. Check 1, 2, almost there, boys and girls. Woo! Let's burn this shit to the ground. I don't know that that's happening here, but we'll check into it. But I am expecting some volatility, so is the camera on? Please tell me the camera's on. Pile around, boys and girls. Pile around. Maybe I should post the links everywhere. We'll see SPY. We'll look at NVDA. I'm sure there's some Anakin Bulls or something. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing out there this morning? I got a few things I got to do. I got to set some stuff up here. We're going to go right into the market brief here and start talking. Chit-chatting away. SPY, NVIDIA. We'll do IWM, and we'll do, what else will we do this morning? We'll do the Qs, QQQ, live stream. Did you guys see did I get the thumbnail up there this morning? I've got the bring out the volatility bear thumbnail. So we'll talk about that today. We've got a bunch of stuff to go over from the market briefs from yesterday and probably from Friday too, if we can. The one that was for Friday and then the one that was for yesterday. I got to do one quick thing here. What am I looking for? There we go. And then what do we got on this one here? But we're going to take a look this morning at, to start with CNBC. I know you guys hate CNBC. I do too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of CNBC. But this is, a lot of people do care about CNBC. Not just me. I care what they say. I was talking to Vol Wiz, and he said that he sometimes will read CNN news about the stock market just to see what they're feeding to regular people on Main Street. There is some need for CNBC because you do know that old men, or at least I don't know if you're watching Wolf of Wall Street or some of these guys, one of those movies, they all watch CNBC like the richest guys or whatever. I don't know if they actually do that, but they're probably doing it so they can see each other up there begging for free money. Stock futures fall after Dow's worst week since October. Doom. We don't have the big painted red stuff up there, though, so we're not quite in markets in turmoil yet. And I don't expect that either. I'm going to expect the market to be bought this morning and for us to trade to about 516. And then I think we're going to go higher. I think we're going to go up to 520, believe it or not. But there is a range in here that we could trade a little bit lower. We've got the gamma flip on SPX down, I believe, at 5,100. Don't quote me on that. We're going to check this morning's data and see where things are. So we'll take a look at that here briefly. We've got Monday analyst calls. We're not even going to bother to look at that stuff. We don't want to. I just don't want to hear it. Here are Monday's biggest analyst calls. We got Reddit to raise nearly $750 million in upcoming IPO. I think this article I read yesterday from someone else the day before was 450. So now it's up to 750. We already know how what happens here, right? They put that pipe out there, and everybody's at a different level, right? You guys know when they start these IPOs, it's like, well, it's worth $1. Let's go sell it to our best buddy, and then we're going to sell it to our other buddy for $2, and then $3, and then $4, and they rack the price up. You basically short. Basically, all IPOs get shorted today. That's like if you did that, that's a rule. I mean, and I don't know why people buy it. I don't know how this is allowed, but it is. And when people hear that, they're like, I'm all in. And so I would assume here that whatever opening price of Reddit is, that you short it into the fucking ground. That's my expectation. It's going to open up something stupid, and that you'd want to short that ticker into the ground. We'll wait and see where it opens, or even if it rips. I mean, it would even be better if it ripped off the bell. That would be great. But I'm going to assume here that people are going to do their darndest. Let me know if I'm wrong in that. To short it into the fucking ground. There'll be an attempt to do that. What else do we have here? Trump suggests he would not crack down on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as president. Can you believe that shit? I would make Mag 7 double. We were just discussing this last week. We were discussing if Trump would have an impact on the market and bring back volatility to our markets. And what do we have here today? Trump suggesting he would not crack down on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies if he was president. Biden's 25 budget marries progressive tax hikes with populist campaign planks. This one here is a developing story. He rolled out some kind of a very wealthy tax last week, I believe, and I think this article is tied to that. We discussed this last week, too. Before that news began to drop. I think it was like 2 days later they started dropping that news. But the only thing that I could see here would be, and Ray Dalio talks about this stuff, which of course Ray Dalio sucks at timing, but he's really good at explaining. And this late stage of these cycles, normally you tax the fuck out of the richest people. Whether those laws pass or not is a whole other thing. But there would be an expectation that you're looking to take money away from the ultra rich. That's what it is, or at least the threat of it or the perception of it. I don't think we've done that since '78, so I don't know that ever really truly happens. You'll look like it's happening, but this is not shocking to me either. Here, this article. So all these articles are starting to come out. What else do we have going on? We've got anger over Pope's white flag. We've got stocks making the biggest pre-market moves. Not a whole bunch of news today because we've got so much coming. Over on Financial Juice, let me see if I can find anything here. See if there's anything worth looking at here. I don't know if are we still on the 175%. Let's go back to the 80% that's supposed to be. And whoa, that's a little bit smaller than it should be. Back up to this one right here. U.S. CPI prep, that was for 8:30 this morning. So we've got a bunch of data coming out this morning and then the rest of the week. We're going to go over all this stuff. But instead of the market brief being how we normally do it, I'm going to go through some of the events that are coming our way. Now, if you're a supporter level on the website, you got that from me yesterday. I listed off, I think, everything. If I've missed anything, let me know. But I did list out the dates, times, and the expectations of this volatility that could be coming our way over the next 2 weeks. So there's a lot of landmines. And I also did post, I believe, somewhere, I don't know where, either on Twitter or in the Discord, that the takeaway here is to scale out from a 1-minute chart to especially the next like 2 weeks, into maybe the first 2 weeks of the next quarter. You just step back a little bit and just see where we are and look for some range expansion. So if you're looking for more for range expansion, you can be looking for places of interest on the downside, and then ceilings on the upside with gamma. We know we've got a large ceiling above at 5,200. We know where the gamma flip is down below. We know where CTAs are most likely to sell. So we're going to start to just open our eyes a little bit more, look a little bit, stand a little bit back as these volatile events come into play, and it should relieve some of your stress out there. We're going to talk about that stress as well today, that when we come into these moments, how your stress can go away if you scale back a little bit. Just pull back a little bit, see where we are. If we're going to expect volatility to rise, you're going to expect prices to begin to make more violent moves for a period of time, right? We also know that there is a window of weakness after a triple witching. That is on Friday, the 15th. So we also know that there's a clench into that, and then an unclench. Some people call it an unclench. Some people will call it a window of weakness. But there is a window there of the ability for some volatility to come into the marketplace due to the expiry of gamma and options expiry, all coinciding at the same time. There's a little bit loosening of that pinning action that takes place as we come into triple witching, but then even afterwards. Now, when that happens, it doesn't necessarily mean we're getting a down move. It just means volatility, and then also comes the ability for us to check sentiment. There also comes the ability to find out if people are rolling higher into higher calls, or if they're rolling into puts to the downside. So we'll be monitoring that as we come into these events, and just be aware here that there's volatility gang, not vol sellers, but vol buyers that are aware of all of this stuff coming down the pike here in the next couple weeks. They're hyper aware. They know all the dates. They're listing off all the reasons why the market should crash. And we know, though, that right now they do sell vol into each of these events, that they're going to be talking this up. If you're on FinTwit, I haven't been on FinTwit all weekend. If you have been on FinTwit, I'm fucking betting that people were out there all weekend, like, spitting all kinds of yarns to you, like, you got to check this one out, and you got to check that one out. And what about when this ends? You know, that we're doomed, right? Dude, this is all doom ahead of us. And you're not aware of that? We have all that doom coming? Because we got to create some volatility in this market, right? We ain't got none. Now, the question becomes, does that volatility turn into true sentiment change? Or is it just noise in the background? So we have to monitor that over the next 2 weeks if we're going into volatility, or the perception of volatility. Does that turn into a sentiment change? That is a key point. Sentiment matters more than you think in this market, and not just the market. The sentiment matters for the discussion everywhere. What's being discussed on CNN to the regular people? What's being discussed on CNBC to you and I? Well, what's being talked about on FinTwit? And how scared are people? You know, are they really scared? Kind of scared? Sitting on hands, waiting to put their money in the market? What are they doing? So pay attention to that out in your wherever you hang out there. And so let's get right into the opening bell in position right now. Let's take a look. I should have deleted this, but I'm going to leave this up for right now. So this is from last night's market brief, and I am looking to go up here, believe it or not. People are probably going to be like, Cap, that's not happening. We're going to come up here, test this hourly trigger, and then blast out of the depths of hell down here or something like that. I'm still open to some rejection for more downside, but I am looking at worst case scenario I want to see 508 get bought. I don't know where we are in price right now, but if we tagged 508 at this point, we're at 510.62. Let's take a peek down here. 508 is what I want to buy. So I'm saying that as I haven't bought shit sitting here right now. So that's 509.27. It's kind of close. So I'm not anti us going up right now. I would really like to see about this 508 right here. This is what I want to buy. I want to buy this right here. Right in there. I want to buy that one. So we'll see if we can get there. If we can get a another rejection here, it'd be kind of nice. And that's the actual dip buy. We'll find out. Now, if we get above the hourly trigger right here, I'd be more than willing to take that trade up here. So I'm opening that trade as well. And I am bullish here. So I don't know what you guys are. I'm assuming, right, that, and I intentionally stayed off some serious downside blood to come. I'm not quite there. I think we do have that ability. I just don't think it's today. I think there's a weekly dip buy this week, and I think as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, there could be some nice volatility into triple witching. But I think next week is when you guys have a real fair chance of some kind of nastiness. Now, saying that, right? I'm over here, blowing my stuff over here, going blah 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 blah. If we do get underneath, let's say we reject this and we come down. We do actually blast down below this daily trigger. If at any point, let me see if I make that a little greener. If at any point that hourly trigger comes back down underneath, and there's a rejection above, then if we come back up here and begin to reject this stuff and get underneath this daily trigger, get underneath the hourly trigger, I will switch from being a buyer of dips to a seller of rips. But until that happens, until we start to confirm an actual correction to the downside, any of this kind of price action right here, still a buyer of dips, regardless of what anyone is out there telling you. Now, there is a little bit of a sideways flattening going on right here. So you can see this. This is important to see. There is a little bit of flattening, right? A little bit of consolidative action going on here. So this doesn't necessarily mean doom and gloom. It just doesn't. And until that price action shows itself, you're not going to get anything from me in terms of a video. You're not getting a correction video. You guys normally get correction videos from me, like that is the top right there, or this is a potential top right here. I don't see that today. So I need to, like today, I need to see price action. This week, I need to see price action set that up. Otherwise, the other thing that I'm expecting here is some range expansion. Just this nice little range expansion up here. Come on down here, that kind of stuff like that. Okay. And then some calmness to it as they park the bus, right? They come in, they park the bus, and then they're going to do that same parking the bus bullshit into the end of month at some point as well. Usually, not always, but oftentimes you'll see that. So expect volatility is the name of the game here. Let's go over to the main screen. See what we can see here. What do we got down here? We're going to get rid of this. Turn that off. We're going to we're going to check the data right now for the SPX Gamma and see what that's saying this morning. See what we can find out here. I'm going to read you some notes from some other guys as well here, if I can. Toggle the sidebar here. See if I can get some other stuff going to you. And we're going to put this then down below. See what magical stuff is being said to us this morning. Now, not a whole bunch of changes this morning. We do have the ooh, nice. Switch over here. Let's take a peek at that. So pause that right there. We've got a nice little bit of support setting up down below at 5,100. The gamma flip has moved up, or I think it's moved up a little bit down here. So I'm hoping for this, not hoping, but wanting this to hold down here, okay? So you got 5,100. You got the gamma flip down below at roughly 5,110 on the gamma flip. So this looks like the zone, right, to trade. Let's take a look down here. See what we can see. Let me switch this over to the 1 minute chart for you. And I'm going to clear all this stuff out here for you. So just right in here, just so you can see it. We'll leave that up right there. That's the 1 minute time frame for SPY. Hold on here, push all that out, see what's happening over there. See if we can see anything here. There we go. Is that helping right there maybe a little bit? Let's see, get that right there. Yeah, it's already stepping right here. It's like, bam, there's one, bam, there's two. That was just a few moments ago. Somewhere in there, I'm looking for that dip buy. The one thing we are watching here is another leg down. Have a little bit more, just right down there, and then that's your real upside. If you're a bull, you know that you want to be above. This is a moment in the stream right now I want to talk to you about, okay? Listen closely. Don't pull a CaptainJimJames. If we are above the hourly trigger, I would be interested in a long, but we are not above the hourly trigger right now. So until we are above that hourly trigger, I would expect, I'm going to expect selling off of that hourly trigger, okay, because we are below it right now. So until we're above this area right here, right, get above, come back down, get a new high, right, there's your new high, and we have the continuation of the upside for the bulls. Until that happens, on an intraday basis, looking for a little bit more downside. Let's pay attention to that and see if we can get that more downside on the open this morning. All right, so we've got the updated charts down here for SPX and Gamma. This is what I'm going to be looking for down here. I can draw a little line. See if I can catch that. Maybe I can catch that down there and then that up there. That'd be nice. Close all that gap right there. You see that nice gap? And then maybe come back down, right down here. Consolidation maybe. And then you get your run to the upside. Whoop. All right, there we go. Something like that. If the Doom Bears can get us down below, watch this gap down below here. You see it right here? Doom Bears sometimes want to catch us down below here, right? Close that gap down there, and then we're continuation to the upside right there. So we'll pay attention to both of those, both of these gaps down below here. Keep an eye out down here and see what the bears are going to be doing. Especially not necessarily the bears, but the volatility bears. A lot of noise from volatility bears. Not necessarily real. I don't know if you want to call it real price action, but not necessarily doom just yet. So here, I'm reading some of you guys. Cap, could you tell us if NQQs look the same as SPY? No, they do not. And if you are a supporter, you would know that. I did post last night IWM, QQQs, and SPOOs. All three charts look different. My expectations in all three charts are different this morning as well. So they are different. All right, so I'm going to read a few more things for you this morning. The Euro recap markets dip. ECB considers rate cuts. European stocks open lower across the board. ECB member Casimir suggests June rate cuts are possible, citing fragile disinflation. Portugal's center-right coalition narrowly wins parliamentary majority. Spain, some data highlights would be Spain's January retail sales year-over-year are 0.3% versus 2.7% prior. Woo! Hello. What else we got here? Ooh. Okay, so I got to look that. Okay, I got some stuff I got to look at this morning. What else we got here? I got to check something here this morning. I'm being told that, yeah, I got to take a look at some other stuff this morning. What else do I got here? Check what we got here. I think that's all I got for you right now at this moment. Nothing's really changed here. All expectations from this weekend remain the same as were posted yesterday. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on here. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on here in the background. Market breadth right now is marching higher, and it's spreading out in sector rotation. There is a divergence being created to an extent on PPOs and PMOs that suggests a divergence in price on the S&P 500. with PPOs and PMOs. So there's a and then there's the third divergence or the second divergence, of course, would be market breadth. So um, between that and if you've looked at that chart last night, right, that chart specifically, also some of the data that's coming out right now. I made a note last night on a post about the all the macro you need charts. Now those charts show the Fed funds rate, the unemployment rate, the rate of inflation, and the 10-year yield. And what's fascinating about it is you can kind of get the inflation spiking, and you can get the unemployment and the jobs rate spiking in conjunction with like a price rollover. It's good. It's good for bears at least. But on that same token, when I've been watching I've been watching all these reports that come out, and these reports that come out, they're like this. This is how it goes. So like, that's how it goes. It's like, oh, dude, inflation's so bad right now, and then like a week later, they're like, oh, no, it's not so bad, dude. Inflation's coming down. It's really nice. It's like the market reacts to it that way. And like, oh yeah, dude, inflation's super bad, dude, really bad. Same thing with unemployment. Well, not as much with unemployment. Unemployment is steadily rising slowly. And as a matter of fact, they're near that 4% level. So I'm fascinated to see if they pull it back down. But the same shit's going on as well with unemployment and jobs. It's like this here. And you can tell that the Fed is attempting to manipulate this stuff. You can see it in the reporting. It's like, yeah, it's really good right now. Or no, it's really bad right now. Oh no, it's really good right now. And so you're just seeing that stable, or the attempt to stabilize these numbers. And as these reports come out, I'm like, don't tell me it was a hot read today. And then like the next week, I'm like, don't tell me it's a cold read today. So it's like hot, cold, hot, cold. Massage the beast as much as you can. Can we make it happen? Can we make? I don't know. I got to, Damon. I got to tell you something, Damon Garris. I still have a hedge on this market. I could have fucking sold it twice and haven't. Like I need 525 to 500, but I would really like sub 500 as we head into the end of the month, because all that fucking theta I'm going to catch, and it's going to be a great trade. But yeah, I'm with you, Damon. Any doubt? Not just me. This is another thing too. I think we talked about this last week. There is still a shit ton of money on the sidelines that did not go long from Jan 1 until right now. And they just watched this meteoric rise in the market. And they're like, they told me not to take a long until March, April, right? They told me March, April, I'm supposed to take a long. I'm supposed to wait. That's the safest thing to do. And historically, it is. Historically, you should be waiting if you're like I don't know, if you're not a market participant, you're like just managing your own investments. Yeah, March, April. So they have seen that meteoric rise, and they're all angry. So I think there's a lot of bulls and bears in conjunction that secretly want a seasonal low. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I hope we get one. If we can get one, I'd be stoked. I really would. Like if you look at the market breadth, it's like, yeah, there's been some good buys, but price hasn't followed to those good buys. Market breadth's given good buys, but price just hasn't gone there with it. Some blood coming down here right now. A little bit of rejection off of 510.34. Coming back for a third retest down below here. Of course, you heard me earlier say I'd really like to get like 508, maybe even 507. Let's take a look and see what the pivots are saying here. We'll bring those up. And here's the first one right here. This is S1. So I'm going to remove this gray box for you now. You got S1 down here, and you've got S2 at 506.60. 502 at 506.60. I'm going to clean all this up for you, and we're going to start taking a peek here. Right there. Still a seller. We are below the half hour and hourly trigger. Let's take a look at the 30-minute really quick too, and just see where we are in the 30-minute. See if we can get some calculations going here. And I want to show you one other thing here too. So just on the hourly, on the hourly velocity, it's still looking like it's still coming down, right? We still have some velocity to the downside. So you know, unless we get something huge here, I'm still kind of bearish here. So at least on the 30-minute side of things, still waiting. No dip buy for me at this point. Let's leave that right there and see. Let's see if that right there. Yeah, give me like 508, man. I'm trying to squeeze it up right now. I'm trying to get some juice right here. Crank this bad boy up. Let's see. All right, light trading this morning, huh? Does this look like light trading, you guys? Any guys checking the volume bars yet this morning? It's looking like some really light trading here. Am I wrong here? What am I missing here? I'm missing something here. This looks like mechanical. This looks like either light trading or mechanical trading. This looks like somebody turned on the robots this morning. Oh, hold on, Jay Shea. Let me read what you're saying. I can't read that. Saw that last week was the largest tech net outflow since 2017. Typically, there's been a good result in previous times. It happens. The market then rallied further. Yeah, I want to know what those outflows were. Like, who was doing the outflowing? I'm not seeing that. I'll look right now and see if I can see. Maybe I'm wrong here. Let me, yeah, I don't know that that's, oh, wait a minute. Ooh, nice. Let me check, check CTA. What am I doing here? I'm doing something wrong here. Yeah, I'm not seeing that on my end, man. That's possible. Maybe it was profit taking, but I'm not seeing like net sellers anywhere. That's possible. I'm not anti that statement either. I'm not seeing it on what I've got in front of me back here. You've got a contract roll, so folks are moving around. Yeah, I think there are people moving around, but I think it's more of a function of, like, is it dealers doing that, or is it market? I guess you could say market participants, but is it dealers de-hedging themselves? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know who it. I guess I'm questioning who it is. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying I want to know who actually is doing that. Coming down into 509.53. You heard me say that I was looking for about 508-ish, somewhere in there. This S2 is saying 506.60. We'll see if we can slam down in there and find that next. I'm going to bring up that gamma profile for you again. I'm going to lock this thing in right here, just so you can see where some of these targets are in a better way. We are now testing currently the 20 million block. On SPX down below at 5,100. Let's look at where the next layer is down below here. You know, this looks kind of bearish. I mean, look at this, right? They're trying, dude. Let's go down there and look at this really quick. You got like bears are in like their enclosure right now, and they're like scooping up all the shit and throwing it across to the clear glass at you. Hold on. You can see them right here, right? They're just like flinging shit down on you, like, down to the depths of hell, right? Down to the depths of hell, right? Just throwing bombs down here. Down, just down, get underneath. Down, get underneath, right? Just like a lot of that. But there is a gap down here to close. Just be aware of that one. See this gap down below? That's at 5080. 5080 down here. This is the one that I really want to see. I really want to see like this right here. So that's that 508 on SPY. There is a little bit of a price difference due to the contract roll that's happening right now. So bring me more blood. I guess that's the point. Give me more blood. Here we go. Get more blood coming. Bring me more doom. Now we're going to talk about some of the, let's look at some layers down here. Right down there. Let's see if we can get that down there. So we can tag that bad boy. What is that one at? It's 5150. A good drop in the market. You know what this, I didn't put this in the, so I didn't put this in the market brief yesterday, but I wanted to. There is, if you want to see something really cool of recent, I would be looking back at December of 2020. December of 2020. And then the following year, it was really fascinating as we came into December of 2020. CNBC was they like rolled out a package where I think RK rolled over, and CNBC was pushing a narrative of, hey, people are taking their winnings and running from RK, but you should buy ARKG, or you should buy ARK, I don't know, nobody's bought it yet, ARK whatever. And in reality, what was happening was all of the spec growth stuff or anything that ran higher, there was like, I'm taking the money and running, but they were these investors were pushing their money into safer or unloved stocks, tickers, and indexes, just a safer trade. I think we're kind of there. It's like that middle. I don't know if I said this last night or I deleted it, but I wanted to say to people, we're entering the middle to and late stage of a bull run. And normally when we get that middle to late stage of a bull run, you get expansion. And we still go up and get new highs, but you get like range expansion. You get new big lows, new big highs. In the indexes specifically. So this could be a time period where if someone's out there going, woo, I took this ride from $10, it's now worth $1,000. You may want to get out of that stuff and look for a decent buying opportunity with less exposure to speculation. We may be in that part of the bull run. If you disagree with that, let me know. I'm fascinated to know if you think that the bull run will last, let's say, deeper than March of 2025. If you think, hey, Cap, this rally extends past that, let me know what your thesis is, or just say something in the chat if you want, if you think that's the case. Because I think as we get into this mid to late cycle, they price things in. Even if we're going to have a bull run that extends into, let's say, late 2025 or 2026 or something like that, maybe you think it's longer. I think they're going to price in like, hey, Marches are like that's the end right there. Somewhere in March max. That means you're going to get shit done by December. And if that's the case, we get a broadening of the markets into that time frame. Buckle up was what I would say to you. Remember, one of those guys mentioned the pullback in the last week. I don't know. I don't know that we get the pullback. I think we get range expansion. I think we could draw it out probably too. I think it's more of like the usually late cycle bull markets. We get more violent. We get a little bit wider range. We should at some point too start seeing divergences. It's part of like velocity too. We should start to see some divergence in velocity in higher time frames, like monthly velocity, your quarterly velocity. Really, your weekly velocity and your monthly velocity, though, those things should start to diverge from price heading higher. We haven't quite seen it yet, but that's part of that broadening of the market. Everyone is running into Bitcoin. Can we call that a pullback? No, so your pullbacks right now are down to more good questions. So pullbacks for right now, where the market is to 50207. 50207. We start to set up. I guess you could go to 495. But if it doesn't reject the daily trigger, we come back and blast through it. That's still a pullback. You guys want to see I already shown you guys what a correction looks like. We're not in a corrective environment just yet. I'd like to see one. We're not there yet. Down below, waiting for sell-off on good news and margin debt exhaustion. Damon, I might have missed what you were saying, brother. I can't read. Just a heads up out there. So I only see like the 4 or 5 of the questions or things you guys are chatting about. So sometimes I miss the chat. It's hard for me to do it all at the same time. So I apologize if I miss any of your questions. Damon, Garris especially. S2 is 506 for today. Yes. 502.07. That's what I've got. That's what I've got for today. You can also go into your you can go into the cogwheel and change it from Fibonacci to traditional. I think I'm on trad right now. Yeah, I'm on traditional pivots, I think, right now. Let me look. Yeah, I'm on traditional pivots. So for SPY, what I have for SPY traditional pivots this morning is 502.07. What are you saying here? That right there. That's the thing that keeps giving me hope. The guys that say we're not in a corrective environment yet, because if you guys like UCAP, we're saying we were, then it is likely wouldn't happen. I don't know what I'd probably need more information on that. I've seen too many times. Man, it's hard to describe this. I would say with time and market, you realize that. I would say with time, not that you don't have time and market, Turkey, McNugget at all. Just when you're a buyer of dips and a seller of rips. Some of it has to do with negative gamma, but in truth, there's momentum that needs to get behind. Oh, no, it's okay, but dude, Turkey, I love you, man. I'm a bull, right? That's okay. It's hard. That's okay. I love you for how much of a bull you are. But in order for a real drop to happen, I need guys like you to not believe it's actually going to happen. Okay, I get what you're saying. I think I do. I could be wrong. Turkey, I agree with you on this. I think I do. I don't know. It's hard to explain market sentiment. Market sentiment's a weird thing, right? We need people to believe that. I agree with you. We need people to be unhedged in the market to some extent, right? For that window to open, people aren't scared. I guess you're talking about we're down 200 points one day. I don't know if we're in that environment. But I do know that sentiment can change quickly. And that does have a material, or it seems to have a material, or has been having a material impact in the market when sentiment changes, at least for price velocity, down or up. There's another thing at play here too, Turkey. The information today is so much cleaner than it ever was. If you went back on the old boards, people would show you a lot of this stuff and be it wouldn't be something like a one line on a chart. It would be oh, I got an Excel spreadsheet here for you. It's 4,000 pages, and you can figure this out on your own. today, the communication, the level of communication out there, there's like that whole like fucking the sentiment shit is wild to me. It's like everybody knows that the market's going up. Everybody knows the market is going down, all at the same time. So it takes like real money selling to actually move this shit down, doesn't it? Or real panic or a real event. Yeah. Is the market's coming for them eventually. I got to say that though too. Like I understand your sentiments, but we were told that in October of 2022, right? We were told that then. We're going to crash down to the depths of hell. The truth was, when we rolled in January, we did a whole show on like, you have a 60% of this pullback. You got like a 30% chance of that pullback. You got about a 15% chance of this number and a 5% chance of that number. The closer we get to those numbers, yeah, your odds increase from there. But then we went down there and hit those numbers. We were also told like, you're going to pay and you're going to, one of these days. There has only been a few of those instances. Like you've got the Depression. You've got World War II, 2007 and 8. You got the second leg down, but even when you did, like even when Mike Barry got that second leg down, when he started calling it where the market went before the second leg down even came, it was a long time. Like there was so much money left on the table. So we're talking basically about a major event like a world wars. Theoretically, you're saying we need a world war, or we need tires burning down Broad and 50th, the middle of New York City. That would be number 2. That's like a depression, right? Like you're basically asking for depression, a world war, or you're asking for fraud to come out in the market. Something like that. This is more than a tech bubble. This is more than the end of a bull run, normal bull run. You're asking really, truly for that to happen. Do I think it can happen? Sure, I do. But until it happens, or that fraud comes out, or there's a major news event, it shouldn't happen. They'll abuse this system until they fucking break it, right? So you're either going to get one of those events, or you're going to get the abuse of the stock market until it happens. That's famous. The stock market's about greed, right? So they ramp shit, they break shit, they're like succubuses, right? So you have to put the skin in the game until that happens. Is my point. And when it happens, you have to know when to leave, right? The market. How do you exit properly? The market. We know how to do that too. I'll talk to you about it sometime. We'll show you when the market is risk off, when the market is risk on again. It's a cross of the daily trigger, the weekly trigger below the monthly trigger. When that happens, you should always go risk off the market until that resolves itself. And what's fascinating about that too is there's always one more chance to exit the markets in an orderly manner, seeing that price action. But we're not there yet. We don't have that yet. So to call it, you'd be broke, right? So we are in the stock market. We are participants in the stock market. So until that shows itself, or we see that price action, even then, even if you're not a buyer, it's like you've got like, I'm a buyer of dips, I'm a seller of rips, and then you get into the phase of we are risk off the market, like run or look for an orderly exit. We're in a bear market, so and we're not there yet either. So, do I think one day they'll pay? Maybe, yeah, I do. I saw Pelk over the weekend, so like all last week, Pelk was making cryptic posts. Not cryptic, but you wouldn't necessarily know what he was talking about unless you've read some books on economics and the cult of economics, and specifically modern monetary theory. And then he eventually started saying more or posting more and more uncryptic posts. But I'm in the camp with that cult of economics. There are if you get a degree in economics, you follow one of the cults. And one of the cults right now that's out there is the cult of modern monetary theory. And these people will push that theory until it breaks. They're basing their entire career off of that shit. They're smarter, right? Yeah, I get it. I understand you guys are in the other cult. I understand. I've been there. I've been the same guy. None of this makes sense. This is a fucking fraud. And then I think eventually at some point, you what's the other thing that happens, right? I know this is a fraud, but I'm going to accept it. And you like get absorbed. Or you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Matrix. Do you guys remember when the guy in the Matrix is like, all I want is a fucking steak? Do you remember that? Like the one guy's like, the guy's like, I don't want to fucking live down here in the sewers anymore. I just want to buy a fucking steak. Accept the Ponzi and buy it, exactly. Who just said that? Brawling in the mail, or brawl in the mail. Eventually, you just say, fuck it, I'm buying the Ponzi. And when we roll, I'll be ready. But until then, play the Ponzi. Otherwise, I'm going to get fucked here. See what's going on a closer level down here. You guys get what I'm saying at least? Like, you'll lose. Not you. You might hear what are those stories called? You might hear anecdotal stories of bears that say, not all bears, but you'll hear anecdotal stories of, well, I can operate in here as a seller. I think that's true. People are like, they can operate as a seller. But you're never going to find the doom bear that's saying they're making a living as a bear. It's impossible. Like no offense, I like Haas, by the way. I like Haas. I enjoy what he writes, but you know, I think when they write the weekly chart of the S&P 500, it's like a straight bar down to the depths of hell. It's not really like that. You bring up like a 6-month bar chart of the NYC, I think it's NYCA, right? The New York NYA or something. I forget the ticker name, but if you look at the composite of the entire stock market over since day one, it's very rare to have red bar 1-year bar charts, 6-month bar charts. We just had one. They're very rare, going back to the start of the stock market. Maybe I'll bring one of those. The NYA chart I'm talking about. Yeah, no offense to you guys either. If you're a bear or a seller, I love bears. I love sellers. I don't trade as well from the sell side. I trade better from the bull side. Completely aware of that too, right? I used to be a bear. I've lost a lot of money being a bear. I've lost more money as a bear than as a bull too, in some significant ways. So even when I take an L as a bull, nowhere near the L's I've taken as a bear. Like I got wrapped up, man. I'd go right down that fucking hole. I'd drink that fucking Kool-Aid, and I'm like, this is the one. It's happening. Fucking let it all ride. Fascinatingly enough, too, right? I let it all ride and diamond hand more as a bear. Do you guys ever find that out? From the bear stance, I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking short, man. And I'm like, this is happening. If that should have gone right against me, I'm like, that's coming right back down. Don't worry about it. Even my mentality is different from that perspective. It really is. I gotta be honest. So yeah, I buy the Ponzi. I buy the fraud. Have to. I do. I'll prepare for the Ponzi to crash when that starts to happen. But until it happens, until we see it happen, I gotta buy the fucking fraud, man. It sucks. Yeah, the bear intoxication is strong. It's the smart. I can't say it's not, right? It's the smart perspective. If you sit there and listen to a bear, you're like, that shit makes sense. I'm like that. I'm like, that fucking guy's right. We're totally fucked here. So I get it. Like from a technical analysis, like or a fundamental, not technical, from a fundamental analysis, it's striking how much sense it actually makes. Yeah, it's like a drug. It's like a fucking drug when you win. It is. It's like a fucking drug, and once it gets its hands around you, it's like heroin or something. Yeah, it does. La said, I feel like you get what you pay for. Market generally goes up, so being a bull makes more sense. But while being a bear is an overall losing strategy, if you get it right, you can make a ton in in a short time. I agree with that too. I'm not anti that stake. I always make a joke on. If you guys ever hear me on I've been doing this for years. Like I'm saying, when a bear that knows how to short with size, they will place their trades and literally close their fucking laptop. They don't want to hear any of the bullshit out there. They like place that trade and they're like, I'm out. I'm not going to do anything until this shit goes to the depths of hell. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to be. It's not easy being a bear. Not an easy thing. Trying to get underneath this S1 right now and target 506.60. I'm looking for more like 508 ish. I'd like to see this get cleaned up right here. Get a little bit of a dip down there. You see it down there? I'd really like to see us get that last little roll right down there, and then we start making our way higher. So we'll keep an eye out, see if we can get down there. I don't know what that relates to on SPY because I haven't. This roll thing is kind of wonky. About 508.087 ish, somewhere down there. I'll make it a little bit bigger here so you can see it. Nice big moves in the market right now. You're a bull, but you get excited when there's massive drop to buy dips. I'd always recommend the market breadth for you. If you're a bull that needs to make money, that's where I make most of my money in the market is from market breadth. When we have liquidation moments in the market, that's when I usually step in with size. If we can trigger like if we get to like 20 or less on market breadth, I will then begin to get really greedy. That's cool, Brawl in the Mall. It's a nice name too, by the way. G-Dat Gold saying he's going to target a 505.69. All right, I'm going to take a quick break with you guys. I got to take a quick coffee break here. Going to stand up, do some stuff. We're not seeing anything to the upside right now as it is. So it is Monday. Still looking for more downside to come. S2 down below at 506.60. I'm looking for a turn right around 508. If it goes down to 506 or 505, I'm fine with that too. There could be some front running of vol 2 coming in to this morning, so just be aware of that. If everybody knows that there's volatility coming, it seems like everybody does know there's volatility coming. Let them have their moment. Did I grab put spreads on Friday? No. It's in the background right now. Oh, you're asking somebody else. I don't know if that's me or somebody else. I didn't take that trade into the close for today. We did talk about it though on Friday to expect more downside into Monday, but I didn't. Mostly because I'm getting really. We're not getting. In the background, I still have a lot going on with the launch, and it still hasn't been. Stuff hasn't been finalized. Things need change. We have fires going on that we have to fix and that kind of stuff. So, a lot of new coding, all kinds of craziness. So I'm still being pulled from, I'm still sleeping like 4 hours a night. I'm like working still monster hours right now. Well, that was for Trader Podcast. Sweet. All right. Not me. All right. I will talk to you guys in just a little bit. I'm going to put on some CNBC and I'll be right back with you guys in a few moments.
What is the timeline of events that will go from there, assuming it passes, which people do?
I think everybody assumes that it passes, yes. And then it will come into effect in a sequence. The first thing to come in effect is the ban of certain uses of AI, like social scoring systems, like embedding AI in toys that could have a adverse effect for children, like the ban of live facial recognition surveillance in public space. And then the watermarking of artificial intelligence comes into effect.
This is the EU, by the way, not the US.
Careful as to what will happen before it comes into effect. And we are in dialogue with the big tech that has signed up to make sure that watermarking is indeed available, because this is the biggest election year. I think no one has escaped that fact on the planet. And of course, it is really important that the platforms, they enable us to see what is real and what is made by artificial intelligence.
But shouldn't you be working with the U.S. here on a law like this at this stage of the technology? I know that a number of big European companies, Heineken, Renault, they penned a letter saying that you're risking European competitiveness going at this in part alone.
We've been working with the US since the very first meeting of our Trade and Technology Council to have the same approach to artificial intelligence, which is not to regulate technology, but to regulate the use of technology. And that also means that innovation, research, all of that is not touched by the AI Act. It is when you put it into use. And the point of our regulation.
Someone was asking me earlier what my target was on QQQ. It's 430. 430.
Use cases. We have very big public sectors in Europe, and they should be part of the demand push for the use of artificial intelligence. And obviously, no public sector service can have a bias towards one gender or another.
One more thing here. Let me mute this person speaking in the background. Let me ask you guys a quick question here. If you are, hold on here. Hold on a second here. Whoop. Hold on here. All right, so mute that thing. Okay, so if you guys want me to bring up some charts this morning, if you're a subscriber or whatever out there, you want me to bring up so the down below chart, if you want me to show some stuff this morning, right now I've got up SPX and QQQ. Right down here, okay, the Qs. Let me mute this so you can just see it. Make it nice and clean for you. This is a 1-minute chart. We'll do the 30-minute chart on Qs. If you are a pro or sub trader, what do you guys want to see for tickers to rotate on this bottom screen down below today? What do you guys got for me? Any of you guys want to see a specific ticker down there today? NVDA is one of them. You guys are asking for NVDA. XBI and IWM, Tesla. All right, hold on. Hold on, boys. All right, so we got NVDA. Oh, that looks juicy, man. Hold on, let's say this is looking juicy. NVDA, that's a good one. Good job on that one. And then we're going to do, hold on, you guys are so fast. Where's Trader Podcast at? Yeah, XBI and IWM. Okay, hold on. Some of you out there are like, if we just start hammering him with tickers, the first people that said something, they'll go away. Okay, he won't see him. All right, so here's IWM. Put that away right there. And then XBI, we'll do that one next. Hold on a second here. All right, here's XBI. 30-minute chart on XBI. Ooh, XBI looks juicy. Ooh. Trader Podcast brought up a XBI. Juicy, bro. Looks super juicy. 30-minute chart on XBI right here. Super juicy. That looks like it wants to be like, this looks like a great chart. All right, I can only put up like 5 of these. I can't put up like 1,000 of them. SPY squeezing right now. Remember I said 508. And this is 508.61. Looking juicy here, boys. Let's go to a 30-minute chart up here, too. Let's just do that right there. Switch on over to a 30-minute chart. Slow this bad boy down a little bit. I think that's bottom right there. I could be wrong. I think that's bottom. I think that's your weekly low today. You're going to hate me for saying that, but it's pretty close. It's probably it. Okay, I'll be back with you in just a few moments. That's maybe a little bit lower. I'll be right back with you guys. Yeah, I mean, for a weekly low, dude, even if it does go lower, like a nice, 1 month call or something, get rid of them get rid of them by the Friday or something like that. Is this the weekly low right here? That's about it, dude. That's the one that I got targeted at least. If you are a subscriber, I think that's $300 and something a year. That basically means you're supporting what we do around here. This is about where I tagged on the market brief last night for you. You get those from me every day when we need them. So this is about the area here. Or do you guys want a 15-minute chart? Is that better? Maybe that's a little bit too slow. Look at the 15-minute. Now let me turn this back on.
Investment to gold, equity, bonds.
I'll be back with you guys in just a minute here.
It's digital. You can trade it 1,000,000 times faster than conventional assets using a computer. It's available. Most other assets only trade less than 20% of the time. Bitcoin's trading 168 hours a week. We bought $800 million of Bitcoin, and a lot of it we bought over the weekend when all the conventional markets are closed.
Shares of MicroStrategy, of course, more than doubled year to date, up 145%. Meantime, got a target increase on coin from Jeffries. They were at 160 to go to 245 as a result of just the ecosystem enlarging at this point.
Chasing the rally of some of these.
Let me ask you guys one more question in the. Ask you guys one more question in the stream.
Proposal today has what it could mean for your wallet. Next.
Let me ask you guys one more question in the stream this morning, and let me know. Write something in the stream about this, okay? I have a question for you. Do you guys have a target for ETH? You're looking at like 6,000. Like, what do you guys have for a ETH target? Let me know in the chat, please. Last year, 5,800 was your target since middle of last year. So would you be trying to get out of ETH at 5,800 Trader Podcast, or would you be trying to get out of ETH at 6,000 from last year? We'll take a look at it today, I think. Yeah, thanks for that insight, Trader Podcast. You guys even hear me out there? Okay. I don't know if you guys heard any of the discuss. Maybe I was just talking to myself. Just a heads up here at 10:30, the Fed Reserve. There's a poll that the Fed Reserve are to cut rates by 70 BPS or less in 2024. Say 52 of 108 economists. 26 say more cuts, 100 BPS. The Federal Reserve are to first cut the Fed funds rate in June. Say 72 out of 108 economists. We do have a rate decision coming up here in March. Now the question becomes, the closer we get, right? So I wouldn't be thinking so much about this rate decision, but we should probably have a discussion about the next rate decision, right? Because they do begin to price this stuff in. And that's a big question mark from me. We'll go to the 5-minute chart, take a look at that. See what's going on up here. There's a 5-minute chart right now on still trying to pound it down. Still trying here. I have a question, though, about, so we're going to start cycling through here.
I'm Contessa Brewer with your CNBC News update. Secretary of State
I wanted to pause it yesterday. Let's go back to a 1-minute chart here. This is a 1-minute chart on SPY. What I wanted to ask you guys about in the market brief last night was
humanitarian aid ship bound for Gaza is facing a third day of delay.
I wanted to ask you guys about IWM
200 tons of food
and the front running that goes on in tickers.
Humanitarian corridor to Gaza.
And my question to you is, back in November, December,
here to receive aid off the Gaza.
There was a front running of,
since the World Health Organization declared COVID-19
the anticipation of a rate cut
at the time sent stocks spiraling
and its impact
office address from then
on small caps. And
shutdowns began across the country. COVID-19 has now killed more than
it didn't matter. How do I say this so that I don't anger people?
More than 1 million.
It doesn't matter if you get the rate cut or not.
How to avoid those symptoms of long COVID.
It does matter if they try to front run
this morning. Meantime,
that
building in Congress for a bill to ban TikTok in the United States.
It does matter if they front run it, right?
Speaking of,
so the thesis here would be,
and weighed in on that measure. Take a listen.
We come into this rate decision, right?
Double the size.
And you've got the vol associated with it, the doom and gloom.
And others.
And in reality, is they're going to now, when do they begin? My question would be, if you're a bear out there and you've got all your doom with this rate decision,
check out shares of Facebook.
When do they begin to front run the expected rate cut for June? And where would that most, and what index would be most impacted by that in terms of the bullish outcome? It's likely going to be IWM. That would benefit the most.
It was just introduced last week.
Right there, there's IWM, XBI, NVDA, SPX Gamma, Qs. They should be good.
Now you're going to expecting to have.
Let me ask you guys that. That should be a topic of discussion, right?
Honed in on Meta, and that's kind of been the source for most of his comments on this TikTok ban.
Front running a rate cut.
President, he did try to ban TikTok, and it was a national security.
Is that it's do or die place.
Big concern for lawmakers. This is the reason they're pushing it forward.
For you right
of course,
there.
The question here is the bill going to be narrowly?
And I'll be right back with you guys. So a couple discussions for you. ETH. Next discussion is going to be about the front running
being named in the bill. There's a constitutional question around
the actual rate cut after this. Wait a minute here, I'm getting some wonkiness
in the House, and then of course
the discussion. And then we'll talk about TikTok later. But I want to hear what you have to say about TikTok. What I really want to know about is, do they front run the rate cycle that could positively impact specifically IWM? And when does that next front running begin?
in D.C. right now around China and national security.
So, TikTok's owner, ByteDance, obviously is a private company, Emily. We've talked about it any number of times, given its enormous size, despite being private. And we're already speculating at this point about what ByteDance could do to retain value, so to speak, and meet the objections of lawmakers, a la, avoid the ban or do what needs to be done. Do we have a sense? Do they need to recreate the algorithm? The servers have to be in the United States. I remember going through a lot of this back in the fall of 2020 when we were also talking, again, as you pointed out, when the Trump administration was moving towards a ban.
No, I mean, it's a very good question. And at this point, it really seems like ByteDance is who this bill is targeted at. You had a couple lawmakers even come out and say, look, we love TikTok. We know our constituents love TikTok. We don't want to ban TikTok. What we want to ban is the ability for a Chinese company to get all this data that TikTok collects on its users. And that is really at the heart of the concern here. So as far as what ByteDance can do, I mean, look, they've already said previously that they're not going to divest TikTok. They've tried some other things, Project Texas, building servers in the U.S., but it just really has not been enough for Congress at this point. And that's why you are kind of seeing this groundswell of support. Now, of course, there are some larger government studies going on into TikTok, into exactly how much of a national security threat that poses. Those have been underway now for more than a year. But lawmakers have said, look, we have enough concerns. We've heard enough. We've seen enough. We think that it's time to sort of put this ultimatum on the line. We don't have to ban TikTok. It's just that TikTok and ByteDance need to separate.
I just wanted to also throw in some context around the Trump bashing of Meta and saying that it was the enemy of the people. I mean, in a way, not super surprising, right? Because Facebook banned Trump at one time from using its platform. Also, there was this narrative going around that, Emily, that Mark Zuckerberg donated $400 million, to help get President Biden elected, when it turns out that the donation was actually to two nonprofit organizations that were helping with elections. Conservatives think they helped with Biden. So there are a few threads out there, I feel like, that are important context for the Meta bashing. But interestingly, the stock went down on it, and you do wonder what a Trump presidency would mean for a company like that when he has beef with them.
I mean, it's not surprising to see Trump kind of going after those who he feels has wronged him or hasn't been loyal to him. That was certainly a trend that we saw with his presidency. But look, you're already seeing reporting that there are folks who are interested in buying TikTok. You really haven't seen Meta kind of enter that part of the discussion yet. Doesn't mean they won't, of course. But I think there is kind of a question that if ByteDance tries to divest TikTok, what is that going to mean for TikTok's future? Certainly a really profitable country. Lawmakers have suggested that maybe a media company could buy it. This has kind of been pitched as a news organization. And you've heard lawmakers, kind of say, we see China's ownership of ByteDance and of TikTok being similar to, say, if China came in and bought, NBC, CNBC, and those news media organizations.
Yeah, but it gets back to a very more difficult thing to ascertain, which is, do you get to keep the algorithm or not, which obviously is one of really the key asset in many ways. Otherwise, you're buying a user base. You got to recreate the algorithm. That's sort of the side that, I'm going to keep working on, Emily, as well. So trying to understand from ByteDance's perspective what it can do to try and retain value for obviously what is an incredibly profitable platform, largely in the U.S., therefore contributing to ByteDance's value, Sarah, that's some $220 billion, even with the discount perhaps being applied as a result of these fears about a ban here in the U.S.
Scale is enormous.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emily. President Biden set to unveil his budget proposal today. Megan Casella joins us now from the White House with more on the president's priorities. Megan, what do we expect?
Hey, Sarah. So ahead of the full report being released later today, the White House is giving us a few more details on its 2025 budget plan. The administration says its proposal will cut the deficit by roughly $3 trillion over the next decade. That's a figure that Biden hinted at last week in the State of the Union address. We'll see that today. On the spending side, he'll be calling for greater investment in manufacturing and clean energy. He wants to strengthen Medicare and Social Security and provide national paid leave. We're also expecting a focus on efforts to lower costs for families, in part through investments that would make childcare and college more affordable. And he will propose a $400 monthly tax credit for some first-time homebuyers. On the revenue-raising side, to pay for all that spending, this is something we also heard pushed in the State of the Union, but Biden wants to put corporations on the hook here. He'll be raising the corporate minimum tax to 21%, crack down on corporate profit sharing, and imposing a 25% minimum tax on billionaires. And guys, in the next couple of hours, we'll get specific numbers on exactly how much Biden plans to spend and expects to raise through these plans. But for now, at least we can see his policy priorities heading into the election. Guys?
Indeed. We'll be looking for the reaction on the Hill, as usual. Thank you so much, Megan Casella. As we take a break, check out some of the biggest gainers on the S&P this morning. Got some Moderna in there, media as well, between Charter and Warner Brothers. But the Dow is down 225. Stay with us.
At the age of 16, my career ambition, career goal was to be a commissioner of a professional sports league. So I feel really proud that I was able to achieve that. Our league is at this extremely pivotal and transformative moment where the world is recognizing the value of women, and I'm just really humbled and appreciative of the opportunity to be able to shine a light on our league and everything that we've achieved to date and what's to come.
So the Bank of England sells £799.9 million of bonds in auction and receives £2.22 billion in bids. They say APF gilt sale operation cover ratio was 2.78.
Do you want to stay up to date with the latest and be on the bleeding edge of news for non-farm payrolls? Then sign up today and get our special offer of Financial Juice Pro for a year's worth of our service for the price of 1 month and save 92%.